Am I the idiot for not knowing a term that someone called me is discriminatory? I am male 34, am a consultant, and was hired by a mid-sized company for a contract that requires a meeting about once a week in office. These are usually lunch meetings. Recently, after we were done eating, I was chatting with one of the team members, Jen, and I yawned. I excused myself and said something like, "Damn, I shouldn't have loaded up on carbs just now." And Jen laughed, and then yawned herself. A few people noticed this, and we all had a lame little chuckle over it. Another team member in the room, Alice, says to both of us, "Damn, it looks like you two have the itis." Jen went wide-eyed, but I guess I must have looked puzzled because, well, I was. I didn't know what that meant. So Alice goes to me and says, "I know you're not pretending you don't know what it is." I simply told her I'm not, and I don't. Alice rolls her eyes and starts to say something, and Jen cuts her off and says, "What is wrong with you?" Alice just walked out of the room and Jen apologized to me on Alice's behalf. Another guy, Dan, then explained that that term is rooted in racism and alludes to a stereotype of laziness associated with African Americans. Now I'm even more dumbfounded because I cannot imagine what would possess Alice to say this to us. If she wanted to call us both lazy for yawning after lunch, she could have put it any number of ways. Alice and Jen are both black, and I am white, which I guess does matter to this story. Alice returns and comes at me, calling me racist and saying I shouldn't be here. I didn't say anything. Dan and Jen and another guy, Pete, came to my defense and told Alice that not only did I not do/say anything racist, but I barely said anything at all, and that they didn't know what her problem was. She swears she is right and I am racist, and then got close up in my face and yelled at me that it is my responsibility to be familiar with all racist terms so I can speak up if I hear one, and says she was testing me and I failed. She said that I should have known what that meant and stood up for Jen. Alice is petite and I'm a big dude, so I felt it would be prudent to create some distance and backed away. She continued about how I am the worst and eventually left the room again. She did not return, and it was all so nuts we decided to break for the day. Days later I got a call from their HR telling me someone reported the incident and that they had some questions. I answered honestly and they said that it matched up with what they'd heard, and that Alice would suffer consequences. They apologized and offered me a paid out of my contract, but I really like working with them and I told them so, and said if you are game to continue then so am I. They were happy and we hung up. Turns out Alice's consequences were that she was demoted/reassigned, and she's saying on social media that a racist man got her kicked off her team at work. It doesn't make sense, but I do feel guilty. Reddit, am I the idiot for any of this? Edit, thank you to all who took the time to read and comment. Some clarifications, we are in the Northeast. I was born and raised here, but I don't know where the rest of them are from. If I had to guess, I would say Jen was raised here too, but I am not sure. I have no idea about Alice or the rest of them. I did not go to HR. I don't even work at their company. I'm just a consultant on a shortish term contract. I'm there once a week max. After the day was over, I went home and didn't say anything to anyone except my own friends and family. I have not seen her social media firsthand as I don't follow Alice or any of my clients/teams. Someone showed me screenshots of her Instagram story rants from the weekend. In Alice's kind of defense, she might not mean me when she says a racist man got her kicked off her team. She could know who went to HR and be talking about that person. I was hesitant to include it in the original post for fear of being rejected/booted, but since some commenters knew or have researched/guessed what Dan specifically pointed out when explaining the itis racist roots was that it had stemmed from N-word itis, and Jen confirmed. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Not being well versed in racist terminology is not racist. You never came across the term either from not being around racist people in general, having a decent family who never spewed such nonsense, or whatever. Doesn't matter. This woman clearly was out to give you grief in the first place. Who needs to test people for their knowledge on racist terms? Someone who is looking for a reason to frick with someone. Her motives are hers alone, but we can all have our opinions. Either way, not the idiot. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Alice totally set you up and it backfired in her face spectacularly. Although the two situations aren't really similar, I liken it to someone who wrongly accuses someone else of sexual harassment, and then when their story starts to fall apart they have to admit it was all a lie. Alice may have been confronted by her superiors and had to admit that she was the one who started it, which would make her consequences harsher than if she had simply been in the middle of it rather than having started it. Now for the update. Thank you again to all who commented and told me I was not, in fact, being a crazy racist. It's more appreciated than I can articulate right now. I had an off-the-record talk with the big boss last Monday and learned Alice generally behaves as if she's the boss of the entire team I'm working with. She's not, and believed she should/would also be in charge of this project. She was apparently stunned and subsequently furious when her boss decided to bring in a consultant, me, to spearhead it. He actually apologized for not apprising me of that before we commenced. In my initial post I mentioned that one of the things Alice said while yelling at me was that I shouldn't be here, which was sort of out of place, but I didn't think anything of it at the moment. Now it makes sense. I'm not going to make any assumptions or judgments as to her performance and expertise. I have no idea if she deserves the title / to be in charge of the project or not. In the few meetings we had, she basically said nothing, which I took as her just being shy / quiet / whatever, but I guess it was because she hated the idea of me being there. Also, despite my having a policy not to really drink / socialize at all with current clients / teams outside of office meetings, I ended up having a drink with both Jen and Dan the other night. I think I just really wanted to get all the way to the bottom of this, and put it away for good. They confirmed Alice has generally been very bossy and acts like she's in charge, but nobody understands why, as she was the last person hired to the team. The reason Jen cut Alice off when she went to yell at me the first time was because Jen knew Alice was looking to start drama, and took Alice saying to me, "Don't pretend you don't know what the AITA is," as Alice implying I am racist myself and that I was feigning ignorance about what it meant. Evidently Alice has tried a similar brand of shit-stirring before, and it pisses Jen off, as Jen has worked in what she says were horrifically racist / sexist environments in the past, and this job isn't one, so she feels really sensitive to the idea of starting drama where there isn't any. The impression I get is that aside from general work annoyances, everyone really is happy there. But then again, I'm only there once a week, so WTF do I know? I have no new info on Alice. Anyway, that's the whole story, and I guess this is all over now. Can't thank everyone enough for your thoughts and opinions. Comment 1. You're the idiot, clearly. You're attempting to make yourself look innocent, but you're part of the issue. The narrative you've shared portrays you as a clueless bystander, but, in reality, your lack of knowledge is the reason Alice felt frustrated. You may not have intended it, but your obliviousness reinforces systemic racism. Alice's approach was confrontational, sure, but it was motivated by frustration towards your ignorance. Your innocence doesn't excuse you from the need to understand cultural sensitivities. While it's Alice who ended up facing the consequences, you should have educated yourself. Understanding and standing against racism isn't just about avoiding racial slurs. It involves understanding different cultural nuances and standing up against microaggressions. Just because you didn't use a racial slur doesn't mean you aren't part of the problem. In essence, your complacency and ignorance makes you the antagonist here. Comment 2. Alice sounds like a problem starter too. I'm black and I'm gonna be real. I didn't know it used to have racist meaning. As a senior, we all had senioritis, laziness over our work since we would be leaving. And when you have a big meal like on Thanksgiving or Christmas, it's either a food coma or the itis. I've really only heard black people say this, and maybe that's why, but I don't think in the current context it's bad. Am I the idiot for trashing the gift my girlfriend got me? So me, male 28, and my GF, female 30, have been together for 8 years, and we have been living together for 4 years. GF has always been the artsy type and always has some personal project going, but she has the tendency to get lost in her own world. We celebrated my birthday last weekend, and she ended up getting me a pencil lengthier. I don't use pencils, and the lengthier in question didn't even fit your typical number 2. It was purely for colored pencils. I also don't color. When she asked me if I liked it, I just quietly walked outside our home and tossed it in the trash. She was understandably upset and called me an AH for doing that, claiming that I could have at least tried it. Here's the thing, she has been doing things like this ever since we started living together. She has been giving me things that she likes and ultimately ends up using them. For example, last year she got a packet of Sailor Moon stickers. I don't watch Sailor Moon, and she ended up using them all. She also gifted me a jewelry box one time. I don't wear jewelry, so guess who's been using it all this time? First world problems at its finest. So it's been a few days and she's still upset, and has even got both of our parents to berate me for trashing the gift. She even admitted she knew I would hate it and was planning on using it after I calmed down in a few days, a detail that she did share with others, but I am still getting name-called. Am I really an idiot? Edit. Nearly every comment says we need to talk about this. The thing is, we have, and more than once. She admitted she does this because she wants something but decides to give it to me to say, I tried. I asked if I gave her a wish list that would help, and she said that she would never look at it, and well, she didn't when I made and sent one to her. She, on the other hand, does have a wish list which I do get her stuff from, and some of that stuff is actually expensive. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Seriously, she is buying you gifts for herself. She makes a habit of this. Have you turned it around on her yet? For the next gift you give her, get her something you really want, and she won't want. When she gets pissed about that, explain that you thought that was how your relationship worked, since she buys things she wants when you get a gift. Comment 2. Not the idiot, but WTF is wrong with your girlfriend? Does she plan on pulling the same crap for the birthdays of your children? Does she do it for her family's birthdays, friends? Or does she only do it to you because she knows you're the only one who'll take the lack of respect? Now for the update. I was not expecting this much attention. I want to thank everyone for commenting and giving advice. Sorry I couldn't get to you all. I wasn't expecting to make an update, but there's been a development. Before that, I want to address a few things. Many commentators said that my GF is a narcissist or has some personality disorder. Probably should have mentioned this before, but she has ADHD, which she is medicated for, so she has always been pretty scatterbrained. However, it did get noticeably worse when we moved in together, such as blowing plans because she either forgot completely or forgot the part where we agreed on them, or completely forgetting to do any errands or chores because she is just so invested in something, usually an art project. There was one comment that resonated with me that said that I must have been conditioned to accept this kind of behavior. That is accurate. My parents always instilled in me to be grateful and happy for getting anything at all because they got nothing when they were younger. If I got a sack of S*** as a gift, I was expected to dance like a happy prospector. If this at all explains my tolerance/doormat behavior. The update: despite using a throwaway, my GF still found the post. She was very miffed by the responses and tried to vent to her friends, but they weren't on her side. She then decided to show the post to her and my siblings. They wanted to know if it was true, and when confirmed they all yelled at her, and they got our respective parents to calm down and stop talking about it. She came to me over the weekend, and after talking about it since then we kind of worked over several things. She recognized that she really did screw up, and as an apology she gave me this cool dragon diffuser I've been wanting for a while and a box of all the stuff I was gifted, telling me I may do whatever I please with them. She's also open to not receiving gifts for the next couple of special occasions, which I will be doing. So when it came down to her selfish gift giving, apparently what she meant by "I tried" was her forgetting about these occasions up until the last minute and not wanting to admit it. She hastily gets them off of Amazon from whatever shows up first on her homepage, and just hopes I'll like them enough to not say anything negatively, and uses them when I won't. She refused to look at my wish list because gifts should be a surprise, but when I brought up her list, she had no answer. She said she'll look at mine from now on. I don't think this is a deal breaker, but it does need to end, and while most of you were right, there were other issues. We have agreed to therapy, single and couples, which she will pay for. This may not be what you were expecting, but I think it's a good start. Comment 1. I'm glad you are getting therapy, both as a couple and individually. However, your GF is full of cow manure. You have a wish list, yet she continues to buy from her Amazon hoping you will like it? She was angered that people aids with you on this post, so she showed her friends and both your families? Used her diagnosis as an excuse to be selfish? My dude, please take off the rose-colored glasses and see flags that are waving are not just flags, they are marinara in color. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Wow. I can't believe the audacity you have to trash a gift that your girlfriend gave you, simply because you didn't like it. Sure, it might not have been your taste, but that doesn't give you the right to be so disrespectful. Instead of appreciating the thought and effort she put into choosing something for you, you decided to throw a tantrum like a spoiled child. And now you're trying to justify your actions by bringing up past instances where she used gifts that you didn't personally enjoy. Two wrongs don't make a right, buddy. It's clear that there are communication issues in your relationship, and trashing gifts is not the way to solve them. Grow up, apologize to your girlfriend, and start working on your communication skills instead of seeking validation from strangers on the internet. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.